if we are going to get paid by Square Enix for this one, it's probably going to be in like NFTs and crypto, which could be a bit of an issue. So, hey, Connell, cut this bit from the video, right? Welcome back. So, it's always fun whenever we get a strong personality, let's just say, in the games industry, and that leads to interesting things happen. Now, there's a chance you might remember Balan Wonderworld. It was shown off, I believe, in a Nintendo Direct, and widely people looked at it and thought, what the f*** is this? This looks really janky. What the hell is going on? Well, now Square Enix are being sued by the man behind the game. But there's potentially a hell of a lot more to this story. Okay, so bear with us. This is quite something. All right, so the game's director is a man called Yuji Naka, and he has a very interesting history in video games. He was a programmer on the original Sonic the Hedgehog games. Also Dreams into Night, which is a big cult classic. So with all that, he was a big enough name at SEGA, but of course he then suddenly disappears in 2006. And that's where things are strange, because his track record with games is, I think, mixed. You've got a very strange situation with a recent one, Roadie the Sky Soldier. That released on the Nintendo Wii in 2015, 4 years after it was finished. It then got a re-release on the Wii U and the 3DS, and again, that was quite mixed. Then, of course, Balan Wonderworld happens, and we all think, well, I wonder how the fuck that actually happened. Now, he revealed on Twitter that he's taken Square Enix to court for ousting him from Balan Wonderworld and then releasing the game in an unfinished state, which would obviously be, from his perspective, kind of like, ain't me. Game was released in a bad state by Square Enix. It's their fault. Now, he was removed for 2 reasons, and these are strange. So they marketed the game using a YouTuber's piano arrangement of the game's music instead of the original score. He was very angry about this. There you go. That's point 1. He was just very angry about this, and that kind of led to some drama, bridges being a little bit burnt, that kind. Then his relationship with the studio Arzest, who are actually contracted to make the game, fell apart, where basically what would happen is they would submit builds of the game that ignored his feedback. So that's a bit weird. Bugs would still be there. He said that the tight schedule that resulted in those problems was imposed by a Square Enix producer, and overall it does seem like there's basically a beef between him, the music guy, and the producer. Chaos. And then he's claiming that the game being bad is because basically, partially, he was not allowed to work on it for the last 6 months. So, bit weird.
Yeah, no, it's like, that's fine, but Balan is not the kind of game we can fix this in 6 months. Just a little bit of crunch, it's fine. It's like a fundamentally broken game that's just like not fun in really any capacity. And you're like, well, how much of an ego do you have that you think, oh yeah, no, it's just I'm the difference. I'm the differentiating factor. If I was allowed on it for those 6 months, it would have been great.
Yeah.
But maybe that speaks a little bit to the wider story.
Exactly, and it came out with this big claim, right, that Square Enix don't value games and don't value game fans. Now that's quite a big claim to make, but he goes on to basically say that he was removed as director for 2 reasons, and it was done by the producer, head of marketing, head of sound, managing director, and HR.
That's just about everyone, really? So, yeah.
So as the saying goes, if you run into an asshole in the morning, well, that's just what happened. If you run into assholes all day, maybe it turns out you're the asshole.
Yeah, I wonder if they have a saying like that in Japan. Maybe they don't, and this is what's gone wrong.
Yeah, so there are wild stories. One of these is just completely insane. In the run-up to the Dreamcast, he dismantled the dev team for a very anticipated and promising game because he wanted their tech for Sonic. So Geist Force, which is a game made by SEGA of America, was about 70% done. And from Tokyo Game Show and E3, had great feedback, right? Now, at this point, of course, being connected with Sonic, he's kind of revered at SEGA. It's really important over there. He visited the dev team then, and he saw their proprietary and really phenomenal tech. And then he thinks, well, okay, I speak Japanese, so I can just say whatever I want. Because he says, as soon as they ship, fire everyone but one of the engineers who knows their system and roll him onto our team for Sonic. Now, I think he thought that he just said this in just, room full of white boys who can't speak Japanese.
Yep.
Now, the bit that he didn't really realize is that, in fact, loads of them actually could speak fluent Japanese. So they just heard him say, ship the game, fire everyone, bar someone who can get this tech.
Yeah.
That's bad leadership.
Yeah, of course, because they all just went, well, I have no future here, so I'm just going to go get another job immediately. And one of the important things was this is at a time where, like, this was like cutting edge development.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of going to like the leads at Naughty Dog today and just going, no, you're gone. And they can just go, well, I can go anywhere I want because I'm like so desired this industry. And he basically just did this to all of these staff. It's like, yeah, these are the best in the world. You get rid of them, but don't tell them.
Yeah. And because these people left, the game falls apart.
Yeah.
Doesn't ship.
Yeah. And this has been like called Dreamcast Star Fox because it was very similar. But in a system that like launched and failed because it didn't have really strong launch titles, that's especially in the West, that's the thing where like that could have made or broke Sega having a Dreamcast having a strong launch title. And he just went, whoops, sorry about that, just killed the project.
And
My bad.
And now we've got to talk about Sonic and Sonic 2006. Remember that. So basically, ego problem arriving here. So you got Sonic Extreme, which is the first try to make a full 3D Sonic game. Obviously, it was not going well, and when he was shown an early build, Naka just said, good luck. Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't his team, so he didn't care.
He doesn't give a shit.
He's like, oh, yep, that looks shit, sorry. Oops.
Yeah, now, Sega then tried to give them the engine from Naka's game, Nights into Dreams, which had been very successful, and basically, let's try and get this project back on track. But he blocked that. He blocked that, and he threatened to quit if they did it, which kind of ruined that team's chances and, of course, killed Sonic Extreme. But, I mean, hey, that's okay, because, of course, Sonic 2006 is going to come in and bring 3D Sonic to the masses.
Yeah, that's going to be, by Yuji Naka's own admission, it's going to be the Sonic game that turns it into the kind of success that you'd see with Batman Begins or Marvel's Spider-Man back in the Sam Raimi movie days.
Yeah.
That is genuinely what he was thinking, and that's probably why everyone has that weird thing of, why is there a human female love interest for Sonic? This is kind of creepy.
Bit weird.
But yeah, all apparently Naka's doing.
Yeah, but of course he gets frustrated halfway through development, leaves, founds his own studio, and Sonic 2006 goes on to be Sonic 2006, and I think we're all very glad that game released.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is definitely worth the entertainment value.
For sure.
Now, another thing then is Peter Moore. One thing that I had completely forgotten is that before his tenure at EA, Peter Moore was a SEGA of America leader, in fact.
Yep, he was in charge of that.
Yeah. He actually left after an interaction with Yuji Naka. That to him just proved that they're not going to adapt to a changing industry. Basically, from Moore's perspective, I think it's like, if this guy is like that and he's got clout at the company, well, it's fucked and I'm out.
Yep.
Of course, he has a successful time at EA, successful enough, and then he goes on to, I think, get into football.
Yep, indeed.
If I remember correctly. So what happened is he brought them marketing data, okay, for 18s to 20s from America, where they basically said that Sega was like your granddad. Like, oh, Sega, is that those two-dimensional games from 10 years ago that old people play? So, used to be cool, but people can't remember why they're cool. Now, Peter Moore's position as Sega of America lead is like, hey, we've lost it with the kids. This is a problem. And when he showed this to Naka, and already the two of them didn't have the best relationship, Naka just didn't believe it. He slammed his hand down on the table, said, this is ridiculous. You made them say this. Sega is a great brand. No one would ever say this. You have falsified.
Like, imagine someone from the other overseas branch of company coming over and going, here's evidence we need to make some change because even your internal data is showing that things aren't going so well. And just going, no, you're a liar. Literally the head of the company, no, you're a liar. You're a liar. This can't be true. Sega's great. Sega can't not be great. Shit. Get out of here.
So Peter turns to his translator and just says, tell him to fuck off.
Yeah, apparently apparently the translator then responded saying, like, there is nothing quite like that in Japanese that I could say. And Peter Moore just said, no, I know there is, and got up and left. It's such a wild story, but you can imagine Peter Moore, how he carried himself. you can very much see he would be the kind of person to go, I'm not dealing with this bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm out. He stayed at the company to like wrap things up for like I think 3 months after this or so. But that was apparently the thing that had him leave. It's like, no, Sega's falling apart because Yuji Naka's too up his own hole. Okay, goodbye.
And like if you take a look at Arzest, they certainly have a catalogue of games that I think won't really appeal to the people who watch this channel, but there's plenty of good stuff in there. As an example, Fantasian. That's made with Mistwalker. Of course, Mistwalker, that's...
Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Yep, creator of Final Fantasy. Fantasia, you may have seen it. It's the game where it's all... Basically, the game environment is like photogrammetried models. It's a really unique look for a game, and apparently a really brilliant game that's on Apple Arcade.
Yep, no, and like
so they can do good shit.
Yeah, everything else on their thing is like not like great games that have like lots of players and stuff, but all of them are like technically well done.
Yeah,
it's stuff like Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story. That's a really well made game. Same with like Terra Battle and the Olympic Game stuff. Like, yeah, no, these are good games under Nintendo's watch. They make good games under Square Enix's watch. And now Yuji Naka directs a game for them, and it's a dumpster fire.
Yep, he loses. He loses his relationship with them. He loses his relationship with seemingly most of the important management staff.
Yep.
Yeah. So I suppose if you've seen those quotes come up, Sega doesn't care about game, or not Sega. Square Enix doesn't care about games and game fans and stuff like that. It's very much him smashing back with this whole Balan Wonderworld thing. But I think, given the character reference, given everything that's happened, maybe we shouldn't really take him for his word in these ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who saw this and kind of immediately went, okay, well, Square Enix have a bad rep with external studios. Of course, Babylon's Fall just happened. And that was, people largely think, oh, that was Square Enix telling Platinum to make a live service. That went wrong. Square Enix, obviously, you saw the news this week. They just dropped their Western studios.
Yep.
You're like, okay, well, they clearly weren't doing well with those. They're kind of working okay with the Life is Strange devs and stuff. But it is largely just Square Enix seemed to be bad at managing external studios. So everyone hopped on and went, oh, no, Naka definitely has a point. Square Enix don't care about games or game fans. But it's like, nah. That might be true for some instances. They may have made mistakes. But I definitely wouldn't really take Naka at his word. Not after... even if you just look at a wee glance of all the games he's worked on, you're like, ooh, they are not great.
Yeah.
Some are fine, but he stopped working directly on games in like the late 90s basically, and it just became, oh yeah, I'll just take all the credit because I'm Yuji Naka.
Wild. So I think it's an interesting story. I'm glad that this Peter Moore anecdote is now something that more people are aware of. Yeah. I think that's a good one. So I think our work here is done. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, if we are going to get paid by Square Enix for this one, it's probably going to be in like NFTs and crypto, which could be a bit of an issue. So, hey, Connell, cut this bit from the video, right? No, not trying to play defense for the company, just working out what's going on. And you know what? It's a funny little story. Certainly, a few funny little stories. It's nice when you see the kind of people taking the credit for things, going off, things going weird. A certain Kenji Fune.
Oh yeah, Afune, yeah.
Afune, yeah, is appearing in my mind for Mighty Number 9. Which, in this case, it wasn't like, oh, programmer in Sonic, all the clout in the universe. It was a producer in Mega Man. I'm Mega Man. I'm going to make Mega Man a go, dear, like an anime fan on prom night.
Oh, that's so
as the
tragic.
marketing went. Yeah. So there you go. A funny little story of Ego and Peter Moore saying fuck off and then walking out of a room. How fun. All right. There's other videos on the channel, of course. Lots of news going on these days. So check them out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.